Hello and welcome to the table. I'm your host, Teen Wolf, and today I'm going to show off my dad's green and blue Pauper Commander Scry Tribal deck, because this deck is just a little bit broken. And I think I've been noticing something about Pauper Commander. Green and blue's really busted. Really busted. Okay. So what's this deck? What's this Scry Tribal deck? Because Scrying versus Drawing, which is the Pauper Commander deck that I'm building, isn't Drawing better than Scrying? Well, let's take a look. Let's see if that's true. I mean, Drawing is better than Scrying, but let's see if this deck is better than the one that I built. So Arwen Undómiel, Arwen is a 1 green, 1 blue, so it's also a 2-mana Pauper Commander at Legendary, like my commander, Imrahil. But it's an Elf Noble, 2/2. Whenever you scry, put a 1/1 counter on a target creature. So for each instance of you scrying, so if you scry 5, which I don't think is a thing, but if you do, you put 5 +1/+1 counters on monster creatures. That's not okay. And for 4 green and blue, if you have nothing better to do, and you just keep drawing lands, well, you can activate Arwen to then scry 2. So you get 2 counters on a monster creatures, and you get to make sure that you don't just keep drawing lands. So, is this deck good? Well, let's take a look, shall we? Almost every card in this deck says, when it enters the battlefield, scry X. Faerie Seer, scry 2 when it enters. Silver Raven, scry 1. Wall of Runes, scry 1. Eager Construct, each player scries 1. When it attacks, scry 1. Let's look at the rest of the deck. Oh, here's a fun one. When it enters, scry 2. It's also ramp, because that's stupid. Let's see, what else? Oh, repeatable scry effects. That's not... Let's see, let's look in here. What do the instants do? Target creature gets -4 power, scry 2. Great. Opt, scry 1. Great. Counter. If you have 8 or more cards, and if that player has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, you scry 2 and counter a spell. Great. Counter, scry, draw, counter, scrying. All the scry, all the interaction, and just, this deck is a little bit busted. And, here's the thing about Pauper Commander. Green is the best color in Pauper Commander, period. It is the best color. Blue is a close second. So green and blue is busted and amazing, but why is green so good? Nature's Lore, Rampant Growth, 3 Visits, Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, all of the amazing ramp of green, combined with the scry, in this case, of blue, and counter magic of blue, well, you just get some really, really busted decks. So, what does this deck do? Well, basically what you do is turn 1, you do whatever. Turn 2, you play Arwen. From then on, you do nothing but scry. Nothing but ramp and scry. And you just keep putting counters on your creatures, and what does this do? I mean, it's like, your opponents are going to have jump blockers. It's not the end of the world. Well then, one of 2 things happens. Either you scry your way into a card like Spined Megalodon. Also, whenever it attacks, you scry 1. So you either scry your way into a Spined Megalodon, a Timberland Ancient, a Tidal Terror, a Young Blue Dragon, or I guess Wildheart Invoker, or something beautiful and amazing and stupid like Nylea's Forerunner. What does the card do? Oh, 4 and a green, 5/3 Enchantment Beast, okay, Trample, okay, with all the counters, that's not great. Oh, other creatures you control have Trample. That's the other thing that happens. You give all of your creatures Trample. Why is this a bad thing? There aren't that many big creatures in this deck. Well, there are 29 creatures in the deck, and you have your Arwen, and you just keep putting counters on them, and, with all the scry in this deck, basically every single card in this deck, saying the word scry in it, if you give your creatures trample, with all the counters on them, your opponents are going to die very, very quickly. But Teen Wolf, there's only one. There's only one card that says your creatures have trample. There's a second. Let's keep looking. Is there a third? Did take a wild guess that there's... Oh, whenever you scry, put a 1/1 counter on it. Great, that's wonderful and amazing. We're going to move on. Oh, just more fun stuff that I'm just wandering into. When it enters with 2 1/1 counters, keep putting counters on it with Arwen, and you just keep getting to search for lands. So more ramp, that's fun. But, oh, Tuskguard Captain. Each creature with a 1/1 counter on it has trample. Like the Duskshell thingy. Wonderful, amazing. Oh, target creature gets +5/+5 and trample. This deck is just a wee bit insane. Ramp, scry, so you don't draw bad stuff, and then just make your squad of creatures gigantic, and eventually they get trample, and then you just lose the game, because that's fun. Also, another thing. Where's the thing? Haunted Cloak. That's a fun thing, because you just get to give your biggest creature trample, vigilance, and haste. Big blocker, makes it very hard for your opponents to want to attack you, and trample. And if it just entered and you put a gajillion counters on it somehow, for some reason, well, it also gets haste. That's because... Yeah, this deck is insane. It's got a couple-step plan. You play the Arwen, and then you scry. And you play big creature, or you just give all your creatures trample, and then your opponents die. Like in 2 turns. So, yeah, this deck is really good. You may be asking yourself, how much does this deck cost? $23. Why is that? Because a lot of the cards in this deck actually aren't very good. I mean, Wall of Runes is a 1-mana 0/4 with Defender. That when it enters, you scry one. Not a very good card. Same with Silver Raven. Scrying on its own is not very good. So why is this deck so expensive? And it's not that expensive, really. But why is it expensive? Ish. 3 Visits is a $5 land. And green ramp is expensive. Nature's Lore is $1. Kodama's Reach is $2. 3 Visits is $5. I mean, yeah, it just... Rancor. Oh, yeah, that's another fun one. Rancor. It gives a creature trample. Oh, Aqueous Form. The creature just can't even be blocked. That's another thing about this deck. You can very easily kill your opponent with commander damage with Arwen. So that's another fun thing. This deck is insane. And I don't understand why I built this for my dad. But, hey, if you want to see me get beat to pieces by this deck, because I think this deck is quite a bit better than mine, but, hey, my deck has actual draw. This deck only scries, so in theory, it's slower and gonna run out of steam more quickly. So, maybe there's a chance that I don't lose super duper quickly. But this deck is still really good. So, if you want to see what deck is truly better, and if Draw or Scry Tribal is better, well, just look out for the gameplay, for the Pauper Commander gameplay coming to table games very soon, where, one of us is going to suffer, either my dad or me, and most likely it's going to be me. But, hey, if you enjoy people suffering because of Magic, I don't even know, well, then, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and, I'll see you in that gameplay. And, have a great rest of your day, because I sure won't have one. See you there.